Most people think fear looks dramatic: threats, punishment, pressure. But the fear that shapes behavior in organizations is much quieter than that. It rarely announces itself, and that's why it's so effective. Welcome to the Human Patterns Lab. We explain how human behavior actually works. When we talk about fear at work, we usually imagine extremes: toxic bosses, harsh consequences, hostile environments. But most organizational fear doesn't come from explicit threats. It comes from uncertainty. And uncertainty trains behavior just as reliably. In many environments, no one ever says, "Don't speak up." No one explicitly warns you, "This will hurt your career." Instead, people observe. They notice who gets promoted, who gets sidelined, whose mistakes are remembered, and whose concerns quietly disappear. Fear doesn't need instructions. It forms through pattern recognition. Psychologically, fear works by narrowing attention. When people feel uncertain about consequences, the brain shifts its priorities. It stops asking, "Is this correct?" and starts asking, "Is this safe?" That single shift changes everything. Accuracy becomes secondary. Self-protection becomes primary. Not consciously, but automatically. Rules rely on enforcement. Fear relies on anticipation. That's why fear scales better. A rule only works when it's monitored. Fear works even when no one is watching. People don't need to be punished. They just need to believe that punishment might be possible. Uncertainty takes care of the rest. Over time, fear stops being external. It becomes internalized. People begin filtering themselves. What to say, how strongly to say it, when to stay silent. Not because they are told to, but because they have learned where the invisible boundaries are. This is when fear becomes most powerful, when the system no longer needs to apply pressure. This pattern isn't limited to bad organizations. It appears in the high-performing ones too, especially where the stakes are high, competition is intense, reputations matter. The more people have to lose, the more carefully they behave. Fear doesn't mean people are scared. It means they are calculating. Fear doesn't eliminate dissent. It delays it. Concerns surface late. Problems become obvious only in the hindsight. Failures look sudden, but they actually aren't. By the time fear allows honesty, the cost is already high. Fear doesn't need to be loud to be effective. It only needs to be uncertain. And once people start optimizing for safety instead of truth, behavior changes, even in well-intentioned systems. Follow the Human Patterns Lab for more such content and support us to continue this good work.